Hello everybody and welcome to our final video in the God of War DeMod-a-Thon. For now anyway, we all know eventually you'll be hearing about God of War 4 Part 2 Norse Boogaloo. As an aside, I'll be posting a video tomorrow with more information on how you can vote for our next marathon, so be on the lookout for that. Back to God of War, I've ranked every boss in the series by game and given you the highlights of the worst and the best. Now it's time to talk about the most grueling, brutally difficult experiences the series has to offer. As always, these lists are entirely my opinion, and when it comes to what challenges us in games, it varies greatly. I should note that I played all 7 of the God of War games on the normal difficulty, so this list is based around that level. And frankly, when I sat down and thought about it, there were only 5 bosses that stuck out in my mind and set themselves widely apart from the competition. So without further ado, here are my top 5 hardest bosses in the God of War series. Number 5, CHARON, Chains of Olympus. CHARON has the honor of being the only boss in the entire series that I lost to and was never able to beat. Technically, that is. The first time you meet CHARON, you'll be challenged to take him on at a time where Kratos is far weaker than he ultimately will be. Even if you can manage to get him to half health, he insta-kills you as part of the plot. Putting that technicality aside, CHARON actually is a significant challenge. In a twist like a side mirror on a car, health bars on the screen are drastically larger than they appear. This is because CHARON periodically heals throughout the fight and will continue doing so until you can destroy a fiery pillar. Even better, he'll gain a new attack every time he heals in this manner, which means more to look out for. This eventually includes a devastating magic attack that stun locks you and melts your health faster than an ice cube in Hades' asshole. When you put together the difficult to handle attacks, an HP bar that is deceptively gargantuan, and add in the limited resources you have at your disposal, CHARON quickly separates himself as one of the hardest bosses in the series. Number 4, Ares, God of War. The OG God of War is still giving me nightmares from when I took him on in my childhood. Even though war is his claim to godhood, it should be hell, because it sure feels like frustration incarnate through 3 phases of torment. First, you get a battle with all the abilities you've amassed over the course of the game. Even so, blowing your load of magic and Spartan rage all over Ares will only take him down to about half health. You'll have to rely on your blocking and parrying wits to make it through alive, which is way easier said than done. The second phase is another trial of endurance as you battle through what feels like thousands of Kratos lookalikes while defending your family. I really would like to know who the masochists are out there who keep putting in these escort and defense missions in games where you have to protect an NPC's health. From a storytelling perspective, it makes sense, but from a practical difficulty standpoint, it takes an insane amount of damage output and minimal mistakes to come out on top here. After all of that, you still have to fight Ares in a health bar tug of war. While this is the easiest portion of the battle, it's probably the most frustrating. You have to hope that you don't get boned by his many unblockable attacks and be a dodge god, otherwise you'll be like me and spend 10 minutes seesawing HP back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Overall, while the fight is certainly doable, it is quite challenging and by far the most frustrating of today's bosses. Number 3, ZEUS, God of War 2. This boss finds its way onto our list for 2 reasons. For starters, ZEUS does a ludicrous amount of damage. He's the final boss, so you've likely amassed plenty of HP, but even so, he kills you in a matter of 2 to 3 hits on the normal difficulty. The other reason is that this fight lasts forever, so you've got an endurance fight against a guy who can end your existence at the slightest mistake. His thunder attacks when you have the Blade of Olympus require the finest timing to parry and offer a measly health reward in comparison to what a missed parry takes from you. When he gets to handle the blade, it's open season on your health bar if you can't become the god of dodge rolls. I was honestly surprised that it didn't take me endless attempts to kill ZEUS, but he was able to shave a few lives off of me before I could complete the deed. In the end, I'm glad, and I don't even want to think about what he's like on the hardest difficulty. Number 2, ZEUS, God of War 3. Back-to-back ZEUS with the God of War 3 variety getting the edge over his predecessor. Why did I rank this ZEUS higher? Simple, he takes everything I just said and kicks it up another notch or 7. He does a crazy amount of damage to you with his attacks, and even though there are multiple phases split up with you getting health benefits in between, each separate phase lasts for what feels like ages. The Street Fighter Brawl is on the shorter end, but the 2D nature is like nothing you've ever seen in God of War, and it leaves you woefully underprepared if you can't adapt quickly. The second part of the fight doesn't even matter, you only need to survive for a moment until a scripted sequence of Gaia coming to kill you both happens, but it didn't matter, ZEUS still managed to kill me anyway. Then when you get deep inside Gaia, you'll find that ZEUS is waiting for you. He's just as hard as before, but this time he'll swarm you with clones that grow in number over the course of the fight. Oh, and he'll take the opportunity while you're distracted with them to heal and undo all of your hard-earned damage. I cannot believe I didn't die at all to this final phase of my playthrough, but I was teetering on the edge of death for longer than I could believe was possible. The end of the fight is a scripted sequence of beating his face, and hot damn is it satisfying after the skill you had to summon to reach it. But we've got one final boss that is harder than anything on this list by a mile. No, 10 miles. Number 1, SIGRUN, Queen of the Valkyries, God of War 4. And I'm sure what comes is no surprise to anyone who's challenged the Valkyries or who's seen the 2 videos that feature her by me. SIGRUN is the Queen of God of War challenge on a throne that is contested by nobody. It's not a stretch to say that I would rather fight all other 4 bosses on this list at the same time than take on SIGRUN. Okay, perhaps that's a bit much, but I don't know how to characterize it in a way to anyone who hasn't experienced this barrage of pain. I say that because this fight starts exactly how it'll likely end, with Kratos pinned on the ground after a good beating. SIGRUN has nearly all the Valkyrie attacks at her disposal, meaning you'll see any of around 15 to 20 different attacks that can come at you in the blink of an eye. Many of them do at least 30% or more of your HP, with some attacks being able to do closer to 80%. Your only real hope other than dodging perfectly for the entire battle and taking small hits when possible is to manage your 5 runic attacks between the axe, blades, and Atreus. I even used the talisman to slow down time, and it still took me multiple hours in attempts to finally bring her down. You know what makes even more of a difference though? I bet you I could go back and defeat any of the bosses on her list in less than 5 attempts, and that's being generous. But put me up against SIGRUN again, and I still think it'd take me at least 20 attempts before I got a successful kill, and that's being optimistic. She is without exaggeration one of the hardest bosses I have ever fought in a game, and she easily takes the cake as the hardest boss in the God of War series. Of course, that's just my opinion. What bosses in the God of War series gave you the most trouble? Tell me in the comments below. Be sure to check out our other boss rankings on the channel, and be on the lookout for tomorrow's video letting you vote on our next DeMod-a-Thon. Check out my playthroughs of all the games on the channel, and join our Discord to stay connected with the community and discuss our marathons and rankings. I want to offer my sincerest thanks to each and every one of you that supported the God of War DeMod-a-Thon. And of course, thank you all for watching today, much love to you, and I'll see you in our next marathon.